Hello there, YouTube. I'm GodHammer227. Just figured I'd rear my ugly head. I'm smoking some Borkham Riff Vanilla Cavendish. Well, it's a mixture of it's their original tobacco with some vanilla Cavendish thrown in. It's really good. It's cheap. I think I got it for like $4.25 out of this cheap Dr. Grabo full bent pipe. $20 pipe. I mean, it was a really sweet deal. Got it at pipesandcigars.com. Anyways, just wanted to let you know a little bit about me. I know a few of you have been watching my knife reviews on the Cold Steel True Flight and my new tactical knife, the Assist Open Schrade. It's a great knife. I've been using it all the time. I love it. And just gone out here. Well, my name is Jared. I am 18 years old. Turned 18 in September, so this is legal. Waited a long time for this to be legal. Very into different philosophies. I have several books. My bookshelf is right over here. I've got some work by Nietzsche, some work by Kant, I don't know how you pronounce it, whichever one sounds less inappropriate. A bunch of different novels that are philosophical. One that coincides with my personal beliefs a lot is Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. Great book. Definitely recommend you read it if you haven't. The movie that they made back in the 90s with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise and what's that girl's name? She played in Spider-Man. Kirsten Dunst. It's a good movie, don't get me wrong, but book's 1,000 times better. So much more. I'm also reading right now for the 5th time The Inferno by Dante Alighieri. It's one of my favorite epic poems of all time. I've read the Iliad, the Odyssey, even Paradise Lost, which a lot of people I know can't get into just because of the Old English. It's very hard to read Old English. I read it twice, once to read through it, again to understand it. Here's my Dante's Inferno. As you can see, I go through and I note it up like crazy because I like to read through it to get the story. It's a really interesting story. So I like to read through books to get the story, read through them again to better understand their deeper meanings. And then if they're good enough, I'll keep reading through them like that one. This is my 5th read through, and I'm actually doing it for school now. And I am 15 days from graduation from high school. And I can't wait to be out. I'm reading it for my English class, for my classical literature mythology class. And it's part of the senior capstone is what they call it. I have to read that again, prove that I read it, which is why I'm marking up the cheap paperback copy that they gave me. And I have to do a bunch of stuff like give quotes and say what they mean to me or why I picked them, and make a 10-minute presentation via PowerPoint on the book. And it's a really good book. I love it. The imagery is unparalleled. It scared people to death back in the 1600s. And it still scares me to death sometimes. Just some of the images it leaves you with. Dante had a twisted mind. his ideas of who went where and why. Twisted in a good way. I mean, the guy was an absolute genius. He actually promotes himself in his books several times, saying that he was from Italy. He was from Florence, and he actually meets up with a poet that was a rival of his, but also a close friend and mentor. And he gives his friend and mentor a he's they're having a conversation from this desert raining fire, and the sand underneath them is like it's raging hot, and no matter where he goes, he's burned. He says, "Were I to have lived a more virtuous life, I would have been seconded only to you," type thing. Like Dante promotes himself a lot, but it turned out to be justified. So I love reading things like that. The philosophy, the theology of things like Paradise Lost, of the Divine Comedy. Because the Inferno is only one book. It's actually the first book in the three-book series of the Inferno, Purgatorio, Paradiso. Um, the Inferno is, of course, the most known, just because it is the best. Let's be honest. And the Purgatorio and the Paradiso, I've read through, and they're all right. But you can't beat the Inferno. It's just a classic piece of not only religious but mythological script. Has a lot of weird mythological characters. It mentions Medusa, though you never really see her. The Minotaur. Even King Minos of Crete is in there. He actually sends people to the level of hell that they'll be residing in for the rest of eternity. I'm also into just regular poetry. I have a huge book of Rudyard Kipling. Rudyard Kipling, John Milton, the same guy who wrote Paradise Lost. He had a bunch of different poems. Um, Robert Frost. I even have a book of Tolkien's poetry from the Lord of the Rings. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Um, just the different poems and songs that he wrote for those books. And I also read science. Like not, I read science fiction, of course, but science books. Like one of my absolute favorite books of all time, Cosmos by Carl Sagan, the late great Carl Sagan. I'm a quiet person usually. Um, like people in my school, especially this year, have told me that I've been really quiet. Um, and I wouldn't disagree. I like quiet. I'm always in my room. It's just my go-to spot, my chill spot. Everything's zen in here, and I work very hard to keep it zen. But you know, I don't really care to deal with people too much. I lay back, smoke a pipe occasionally. This is actually my first smoke in 3 weeks. For all of you who think that all forms of tobacco are addictive, pipe smoking, in moderation, not addictive. I can guarantee you that. Of course, there are those that are more prone genetically to addiction. Say, the child of two alcoholics is likely to become an alcoholic should they try alcohol. And I can understand that, but honestly, if you pace yourself and don't smoke every day, and actually, I tried this to kind of, say I told you so to my dad, who has been a smoker all of his life. Um, he told me I get addicted. He told me, you start, you'll never stop. It'll be the biggest money pit you ever fall into. Um, so I did this test when I started smoking. I smoked one pipe a day, every day, for a week. Then I laid off it for 2 weeks to see if I had any kind of urge, craving, and it was a no. I didn't feel in those 2 weeks any sort of urge or craving for a smoke. Of course, I'd smoked cigarettes before that. It was kind of I had a weird mid-teenage crisis type thing. I don't know what you want to call it, but I don't think he ever knew about that really. Um, but anyways, I tried to see if it was addictive that way, and after 2 weeks, I said no, it wasn't addictive. Um, so after that 2 week wait, I did it again, one more week smoking every day, and on the last 2 days, I think I smoked 2 bowls a day. Um, and again, I waited another 2 weeks, no cravings, and so I just decided I'll just smoke when I want to. Maybe once a month, maybe once a week. Maybe if I'm having a bad week, I'll smoke 2 or 3 times a week. But I control it. It's something that I control, and I feel I have control over it. So I think that's a good thing. And it is very stress relieving. Not so much from a nicotine fix. It's just a really long, calming process, and it takes a lot of you kind of have to focus on it because the way I load my pipe with the pouches of tobacco, I usually hold the pipe over the pouch and dig my fingers in, pinch them out, sprinkle it over, and that's how I'll fill it. So it's a process. You get into your own rhythm, and it actually gets very meditative because it's very controlled, and you control it, and you feel in control. I mean, that's just the best way I can put it. Sounds cheesy, sounds corny, but that's just how I think of it. It's a very meditative process. You know exactly what's going to happen because you control it, and it's it's nice. And your reward is a nice bowl of tobacco. I'm actually running out of time on my video and running low on my pipe. So I think I'm going to call it here. Just a little bit about myself. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you got to do. I'll see y'all later.